and charismatic man with a perfect life. You may have looked up to him and you probably trusted him. All your friends trusted him. Everything society tells you to trust, he was a representation of that. Hard work, success, a loving and beautiful girlfriend, and yet here you are once again in the same position you were 6 years ago. Light being accused of being Kira. But this time it's different. This time the evidence is irrefutable, like it was 6 years ago, and yet you still believed him. And then he laughs. The man you were searching for 6 years was right under your nose. He tricked you. He tricked your task force. His father died for the cause of catching Kira, and yet his son was Kira all along, and he just laughs. You didn't trust El, and now you witnessed the person you trusted was Kira all along. But could you blame yourself for believing him? The evidence was there. Lai was in a cell and the killings continued. Lai was the son of your boss, and the son of the person you respected the most. If anyone would know about justice, it would be the same son he raised. Lai should be innocent, and then a speech happens about how he should be the god of the new world. The same person who you trusted for 6 years lied. The reason I started with that opening is because Matsuda is the most average task force member, represents most of us. In fact, we would all love to identify with L or Near. In fact, some would identify with Light. But in fact, most of the human population is Matsuda. Not to call us all idiots, but it's to identify the scariest truth that was shown in the scene. The scariest truth of Death Note. Matsuda trusted a mass murderer. Matsuda and his task force represent the conformity we all have in a person. Although we would love to have a simple idea of a person we know and cherish, we will never know the deep, complex reality of a person's life, except for our own. And that's very scary to think about. Lai was supposed to be a friend. He was the closest person to you because of age. Sure, he was smarter than you, but you thought you had some mutual reason to be friends. Catch Kira. Through lies and manipulation, he believed to have had a friend. It clouded his judgments. It would have sucked to be in his position. Everything that you thought was true was a lie all along. 6 years of your life doubting L and believing Light until this very moment. Light proclaims he's justice in the scene through a self-important monologue, and he thought he was chosen. Ryuk tells him at the very start in the first episode that he was very lucky, and yet he still believes that he was chosen by fate to carry out some justice. The world needs to be fixed, a fate given to him, and rather than just giving up, he continued to try to manipulate his task force by explaining what Kira has done, but his mental deterioration only got worse after L's death. Life for the past few episodes was underestimating Near and Mello, and now he got cornered by both of them, and he paid the price for it. You're just a murderer like Yagami, and this notebook is the deadliest weapon of mass murder in human history. In the end, you're nothing more than a crazy serial killer. That's all you are, nothing more and nothing less. These are the words Near uses to describe Light Yagami at the end. A clear lack of respect to this said god, the god of all mankind that sets judgment based on his beliefs of what good and evil are. Got bested by a 13-year-old and a 19-year-old. Light boastfully tells them that wars have stopped, that he has cured the world, and that the world is still rotten. According to his interpretation of the world, Light is not strong. Light's ideology lacks significant intelligence and shows a lot of mental weakness. Light, for his intelligence and however smart he is, he got the notebook when he was a teenager. I'm sorry to say, but no teenager should have that power. Light isn't a god. He has human instincts of the desire of power and the desire and need of every human being. And through this weakness as a teenager, when you're the most susceptible to change, you rationalize things that are mostly evil. Hell, even adults do this. Light falls into a trap many humans do by blaming others for the world being rotten. Not to say that there isn't a case that most humans aren't evil, but again, you don't know the person. Light in the first episode has a moment where he reflects on his killings, and instead of using them to reflect and put the book away, he rationalizes his hunger for power by blaming and dehumanizing criminals, the very first people he killed, in order to stop himself from feeling guilty. It's a cope mechanism built for humans. There are multiple times in one's life where they come face to face with dehumanizing someone over something stupid in order to justify their actions against them. If you label someone something that's known to have a bad connotation around it, even if it's not true, it's easy to justify whatever action you deem necessary to get rid of that evil. And Light is no exception, but an example of that simple tribalistic human brain that makes someone rationalize the evil they can commit on a group of people. Is Light not a criminal for imposing his beliefs and holding the world hostage by using his power and influence to change the world as he sees fit? If someone gets in the way of him becoming a god, that person is also evil apparently, because he believes he's doing the right thing. Light was just an insane megalomaniac whose god complex made no logical sense. Any human who claims to be a god is stupid because life was temporary, his meltdown and the truth would have came out sooner or later. This was a foregone conclusion. Even if he be near Mello, there would have been another detective. No empire lasts. Do you really think that Light's empire would have lasted after his death? What does it mean to change the world and make it less rotten? I don't even believe he had an end goal. Is it to police the world until he died? But then, what did he do it for? Ozymandias the poem brings up the idea of power being temporary. And yes, Light's power would have been temporary. How can you be the god of a new world when that world would be realized without you? Light trusted no one. So even if he had a line of succession, would it have worked out? No. Not an extent to what Light would have done if he had won. Because if the world lived in fear, there would be constant riots against Kira, and he would have been found out eventually. In the Death Note community, there's two different endings that get described differently. One the shameful ending, and the other being the one with dignity. The latter being the anime ending. The shameful ending is the one where Light begs for mercy from Ryuk. A full circle moment from episode 1, where Light pretty much mocks Ryuk. Where Light knew Ryuk would kill him, but now he's pathetically asking for his human life. And what's funny is that the ending that is honorable. The reason to why Light loses is because of an almost fatal wound that is given to him by the average human, Matsuda.